I must stress again, I'm not a Manchester United fan, despite what it looks like. I'm a fan of logic. It's what I live by. And my search for logic today takes us to the topic of the Tarde tackling, toenail teething, tediously attack-tetty talking Tom himself, Paul Scholes. The man's so boring he doesn't even have a middle name. The dude with a face only his mother could handle. Now, ever since his retirement, there has been a page of quotes from legends of the game circulating around. You know which page I'm talking about, Reds. Literally, anytime someone slates Scholes in front of a United fan, in similar manner to a kid telling the school bullies that his mummy said he was cool, they always refer back to those quotes to try and justify calling Scholes world class. Zidane said he was good, yeah, but all he did was miss time tackles. Not what Zidane said. So why do you think he's good? Well, according to Zidane, shut up, man. Listen, fuck what Zidane said. You should do your own research and understand why Scholes was arguably the best midfielder the Premier League has ever seen. Cause believe me, there is more than a legit argument. But here's the thing though, if you're old enough to remember watching him play week in and week out like I am, you'll be highly aware that practically no fan really rated Scholes as world class, let alone him being the best midfielder of his generation. And yes, that includes United fans. Cause while they did rate him highly, if you'd ask any of them from the late 90s onwards who their best midfielder was, most would nominate the likes of Beckham, Keane and even Giggs before Paul Scholes. So why is that? Why was Scholes not rated by opposition and to an extent his own fans as world class while he was playing? For me, there are two major reasons for this. The first and less significant reason is actually when he reached his peak. Now, Scholes actually began his career as a forward and eventually settled as an attacking midfielder / second striker, and to be honest, he did an amazing job, reaching double figures in goals in 8 out of the 12 seasons he played that role. However, this was not his peak. Scholes' peak actually came around 05-06 after the departure of Roy Keane, when United was slowly moving from a flat 4-4-2 to a more fluid 4-3-3. Now, it may be worthwhile to note that a couple of things have happened by then. 1, Scholes was already in his 30s. 2, he had already retired from international football. 3, given that it was 2005, he had not yet subscribe to my channel like you haven't either. Don't think I don't know. I'm watching you, Big Brother style, #1984, so subscribe, go on. Do it. And when it comes to him reaching his peak late, the factors of him already being in his 30s and having retired from international football actually work against him quite a bit. Because by 2006, Scholes was basically put in a bubble by opposition fans as just a ginger midfielder who'd been playing for United for a long time, feeding the real world-class talents of people like Rooney and Ronaldo. So with the departure of Keane coinciding with Scholes' aging, Sir Alex Ferguson wanted the Toemaster to stop roaming forward and trying to get goals and instead sit back and dictate games. And here is where most of those quotes you see come from. He was virtually impossible to stop. You try going near him and his one dummy or drop of the shoulder would give him enough space to pick out just the pass he wanted. And whether it was a 50-yard ping to switch play or even just a quick 1-2 to get around the player, you could probably count on one hand the amount of times his pass selection was wrong in the next 8 years. But you might be thinking, hey, 8 years is still a long time to leave a lasting impression on people if you were truly world class. And you know what? You're probably right. So why did fans still not rate him as highly as the likes of Gerrard, Lampard, Keane and Vieira? Well, this brings us to the second and undoubtedly the main reason why Scholes wasn't rated as highly as he is now while he was playing. He played in the Premier League. The Premier League since its inception, and English football in general way before that actually, always favoured physicality, explosiveness and sheer statistics. Those moments of magic that are etched into the minds of fans, like a 30-yard screamer from Steven Gerrard or the consistent late runs and goal scoring tallies of Frank Lampard. As for Scholes, the previous version of him did have those moments, and to be honest, even the latter day dictator did have occasional moments of magic like that volley against Villa, but these were far from a regular occurrence, which in context is quite unfortunate. But believe me, had the man spent his peak years in countries like Italy and Spain, in similar vein to the likes of Xavi and Pirlo, Paul Scholes would genuinely have been regarded as one of the greatest playmakers the game has ever seen. Because technical and possession based football is a lot more deeply appreciated in those countries than just moments and stats. Because here's a fact for you kids, Xavi Hernandez wasn't very prolific in goals and assists either. In fact, Cristiano Ronaldo has has more career assists than both Xavi and Iniesta, but does that mean he's a better passer and playmaker than either of them? But once again, in the eyes of English football fans, controlling games simply falls miles behind explosiveness and sheer statistics. And what's the one trait Scholes had that would produce regular explosive moments? Tackles! It's not a coincidence that most Premier League fans remember Scholes more as an aggressive and bad tackler than anything good he did, because that's what people in England care about. But this does not change the fact that it's hugely unfair to discredit or downplay the ability of players like Paul Scholes, Michael Carrick, or insert non-Man United example here, purely due to your personal preferences. Having said all of that, it'd actually also be really unfair to claim that such bias only exists amongst English football fans, because the truth is, the reverse of this does exist in the countries I mentioned. Example, Fernando Torres, an academy graduate of Atletico Madrid. Torres spent 6 years with his boyhood club during his first stint, becoming captain at 19 and finishing in the top 10 scorers in La Liga in 4 out of the 6 seasons. Yet, he is remembered much more fondly at Liverpool despite actually being on top of his game only for about 2.5 seasons, not to mention winning precisely the sum of 0 plus f*** squared. And why is he most fondly remembered for his time at Merseyside? Well, partly because as brief as it was, his absolute peak was undoubtedly up north. But also, his fast and direct style of play was much more pleasing to the eyes of the English football fans. And that sort of bias is precisely why there was never much fuss about Scholes, nor do fans here remember him as fondly as Gerrard, Lampard, Keane, Vieira. And let's face it, as much as Pep has done to reduce that sort of bias in recent years, there will always be a hint of it. After all, this is English football. And that is that. Agree or disagree? Beats indifference. Once again, please like, comment and share. And yes, subscribe. Till next time, you keep rolling.